Two lives in one day might be three, four, five. The way the spirit is moving, it's different right now. A lot of things taking place, but we staying focused, getting some fresh air. Just walked them stairs. Oh my goodness. A lot of things taking place simultaneously at the moment. But I genuinely want to send out some peace and love. This is definitely not a video with any type of direct message per se. Just wanting to take the time to publicly and openly show gratitude and gratefulness for everyone. Oh, there you go. It's been too long. Blessings to you, Grand Rising. Thank you for tapping in. It's been a minute. I don't get no hearts on Facebook. I don't get no pictures. I don't get no nothing no more. My heart is broken. Is my heart still there? Oof, oof. Oh, it's still there. It's still there. But I genuinely wanted to come on, man, and just to tell everybody the closer you get to your breakthrough, the closer you get to God opening doors for you, the more it's going to appear like there's opposition or resistance. But you got to really be focused. Like you got to really stay focused, keep your head down and not out of fear, but just in, meditation and focused on what it is that you're working towards. A lot of distractions, a lot of deceptions. Blessings to you, Angela. Thank you for tapping in with me this morning. I appreciate it. I genuinely do. Even if you're the only person on the live, man, I appreciate you. But stay focused at this moment in time. There's a lot of things taking place in this world. There's a lot of things taking place in the spirit realm. There's a whole lot going on within us, inside of us, more than we realize or care to acknowledge. But stay focused. The more you are going through and dealing with, the more that's coming against you, the more it should cause you to focus, to genuinely focus. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot going on within this realm and in the spirit realm and inside of us. But when you have tunnel vision and you focused, you don't even see anything that doesn't correspond with that vision that God has given you. Because people still think that life is a game. People still believe that they don't have to take accountability and responsibility for themselves and their lives. It's a dangerous thing to put your life and your well being and what you're trying to accomplish in the hands of someone else. That's what a lot of people do. Meaning that when you wake up in the morning, if your goal is to accomplish something by going against others, or you're focused on other people in a way that's not of genuine life, like I'm talking about for real. Like you really got to stay focused. And this ain't always for everyone, because I'm gonna tell you right now, man. There are certain in there are it's like a sports team, any team. You have a lot of players in the NFL, a lot of players in the NBA, but you have those who are the starting lineup. You have those whose names are known because of how hard they work, the work that they put in. So by the time you see them in the NBA or NFL, whatever sport, shoot, polo, volleyball, soccer. By the time you see them in those positions, they've already gone through so much leading up to that. And a lot of times people only focus on the success or the accolades, but they don't really look at the work that's being put in. And that's what you have to stay focused on. You got to stay focused on the work that you have put in, the work that you are putting in, and the work that you will continue to put in, no matter what tries to come up against you. When you truly understand the world that you live in, they always talk about like chosen ones. You hear that a lot. You hear a lot about people talking about chosen ones. And I finally come to the understanding of what that really means. It's not that you're just chosen by God, but in being chosen by God, you also have to realize that God has allowed the spirits and principalities, has allowed who we know as the devil to have his place as well. And this goes back to Job. When Job was an upright man, this is real. Job was don't just look at the stories, because there's a lot of people who always talk about, I don't believe in the Bible, but look at the wisdom and the principles. If you don't believe, that's okay. I understand. A lot of us are just getting the stories and getting, being presented with an encouraging word, but we're not given like laws and principles and God's commandments. We're not given wisdom. That's what the word of God is. It's full of wisdom. So it says that Satan was wandering the earth to and fro. Job is an upright man, one of the wealthiest in the land. And God tells Satan, have you not considered? It wasn't even the devil at that point. It says, Satan, have you considered my servant Job? This is what God is saying. Satan ain't even thinking about Job. He ain't even thinking about Job. God brings Satan attention to Job and says, have you considered my servant Job? And then Satan begins to point out all the different things that's keeping Job in a position to be that upright man. He has a hedge of protection around him. He has all these blessings. He has all these children. He's well known in the land. And Satan says, well, you got this hedge of protection around him. He got all these blessings. He has all these children. Why wouldn't he glorify you and serve you? Why wouldn't he honor you? Look at his life. He cool. But I guarantee you, if you remove that hedge of protection, he'll curse you to your face. I say that to say is that a lot of times we give these opposing forces, and we have to remember that these opposing forces are not able to operate and function in this physical realm unless they have physical bodies who come into agreement with them. So there are physical vessels on this planet, whether they're consciously aware of what they're doing or not, have made a choice and decision to align themselves with these spirits and principalities, with wickedness in high places. But the moral of it all is that there is a true and living God that's really over everything. So as you staying focused and staying motivated and staying encouraged and pressing through and believing, it's beyond your material possessions or whatever you consider to be success. It's more about you having an understanding of who God is. That's what God wants. He wants you to have a relationship and understanding. And there are some times where the so-called blessings and material things and the successes that we have keep us from understanding. Oh, it's starting to rain. Keep us from understanding and developing a real relationship with God. See, we think we know God because we've been told about him. You got preachers and pastors and people telling you about God. But everything, the price that was paid and everything that was done is so that you can have a direct relationship with God yourself. Because ultimately, can't nobody truly help you to understand the reality of God but God. And he's already established certain things for that to be a reality. It's about relationship. That's God's ultimate plan and purpose. And why he created us is for relationship. So we believe that we have this knowledge of God, that we understand God because we're bringing God down to our level of understanding instead of allowing God to bring us to the level of understanding accordingly to how he created us. And so you have a world that's either for God and of God, or a world that has made the decision to align itself with spirits and principalities and wickedness in high places. And then you have those who are what the word of God says are lukewarm and middle ground to where they may even love God and truly believe in God, but not based on the understanding that God wants to give us, to give you, to truly understand him accordingly to his purpose and plan and will for your life. The way that you got to think, this is such beyond our comprehension of how powerful and divine this being is. We can't limit ourselves to the way the world has set things up when it comes to developing a relationship with God and getting to know God and getting to know our creator, the one who gave us life. It's a process, it's a journey, and you really do have to go through some things and overcome some things and battle through some things to the point to where you get an understanding that there's no way you could have made it out or made it through those things unless there was something greater. And as you begin to overcome and get the victory, you're more in tuned and have more of a desire to get a better and greater understanding of who it is that's bringing you through all of this. Because you know it's not you. You know it's something greater than yourself. And see what's taking place right now? There's a division. There's a division. There's a division where we see how God's choosing to operate and from a genuine place. Because see, religion has distorted so much that even when you use the terminology God, when you use that title, that generic title God, people have become so desensitized to it to where it just seems like a game. It just seems like people just talking and preaching and saying something. But it becomes so much more than that because you can't separate God from yourself. You can't you can't have a knowledge of God or understanding of God without having a knowledge of self and understanding self because there's a connectivity, there's a oneness. You begin to understand beyond what you can see with the physical eyes or what you can hear. You begin to see beyond what people do or what people say or how people act or how people will invest their time and energy and life into making sure they put the work in to let you know how they feel about you, what they think about you, to spend time in a state of ignorance, of being silly and saying silly things, because ultimately it's almost like crying out. Like Job went through the whole process. Job went through the whole process, but it was at the end when Job was like, man, why am I going through this, man? And he started questioning God. And then that's when God started to respond. But see, before Job was standing his ground and everything that was coming against him. But then it got to the point to where it was too much for him to bear. And it says in a word, I won't allow you to go through more than you can bear. And with that reality, you begin to start asking questions. That's the one thing that the American church really doesn't do enough of is asking questions. I'm very quick to ask questions to get a better understanding. We all need to begin to ask questions, even of one another, to get a better understanding of one another and why we believe in what we believe. Then it opens up the door for you to be able to share and express what you've been through and what you've gone through and how that corresponds with what God has been to you and what he has done. And it says that when Job was asking God those questions and God began to reveal himself in the level that he is truly on, that was beyond Job's understanding in the beginning. Job said, I knew of you, but now I see you. Now I see you. And when Job prayed for his friends, or when Job prayed for those who thought they knew God and thought they knew the truth that was coming against Job, God's anger was to the point to where he said, look, I need you to pray for them. Because if they they presented themselves as if they know who I am, and they don't, because they use Job's circumstance, they use Job's situation to try to justify, well, look at what you're going through. You must have did something wrong. You must have made God angry if you're going through all that. And these are supposed to be Job's friends. And God said, pray for them. And it was when Job prayed for them, meaning that Job had to have a space in his heart for forgiveness. He had to be more, he had to be more focused on the reality that God revealed himself to him in a way that he's never experienced before, that outweighed everything that he went through and those who were coming up against him. So stay focused because there's a lot of distractions. a lot of deception, a lot of people who believe that they have time to play games. The most valuable thing you have is time. The most valuable thing you have is time. The time that you spend with those that you love, the time that you spend developing yourself and learning and growing, the time that you spend investing in whatever you're working on, whatever you're doing. The most valuable thing you have is time. So people who have time to waste time when certain circumstances and situations arise, you're going to wish that you took that time to properly prepare, because it don't matter who you think you are, how much money you got. It don't matter how you think you feel about somebody or whatever your agendas or plans or motives are. Everybody goes through that process and period where you're going to go through some things. And the last thing that's going to be on your mind when you're going through some things is trying to be a distraction or trying to be an irritation or someone who monitors someone else. You got to think about the reality of life and how you value your life and what your life truly means to you. I can never be so invested in somebody else to where I'm going to take time out of my life to let them know how much I don't like them, or, you know what, I'm going to send a silly message, or I'm going to do this and do that. How valuable is your life? When you start having them back pains, when your body starts failing you, when you can't produce or thinking nothing creative or no ideas, when you're going through things in relationships, you ain't going to be thinking about how you can be a bothersome to somebody else or being silly. See, the one thing that God is getting ready to allow to take place, and most people ain't ready for it, God is getting ready to cause people. This is how it's going to get their attention. When God starts touching your pockets, it's two things. When he starts touching your pockets, your money, and when he starts touching your physical body to where your body ain't pain, that'll get your attention. We got to really wake up and do that inner work, really get focused with life, really get focused, man. Suppose I can see like some kids spending time, wasting time, being silly, saying silly things, but adults, fully developed organisms that are consciously aware and understand life and really about their business, you ain't got time to be silly. You ain't got time to even be on a YouTube live typing silly stuff and being silly. You don't have time for that. You ain't got time to be keeping up with somebody else's life because of who you think you are or what you think you're a part of or what you think you're doing or what you gonna do. You don't have time because you understand the value of time. You realize you have a purpose and a plan laid out for your life, and you really about your business. If people could understand that everything can be seen, there's some people that are just so ruthless, they really don't care. They want you to know that they just a piece of they want you to know that, look, I don't care about life, I don't care about me, I don't care. They want you to know that. They don't care. Then there are those who think that they can hide behind technology, hide behind a false sense of religion, a form of godliness. They can hide behind pretending like everything is all good, but they know what's going on in secret. And if people understood that, if there ain't nothing hidden anymore. There ain't nothing hidden. You can see it on people now. You don't have to worry about pointing this out about a person, or I wonder, nah, you can see it. If a person practices witchcraft, you can see the energy on them. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it. You can feel it. If a person is doing things in secret that they believe only them and their groups know about, you're sadly mistaken. And those who can see and feel and know understand that it is not our place to judge, but to use discernment and to assess, to see. And you genuinely lift it up to the one who created that individual and gave them life. Because if you truly believe in this divine being, this ultimate source of power for all eternity, this divine power, then you know that nothing is impossible. So it can take someone who may be operating in darkness and touch them in a way that brings them to the light, brings them into the truth and reality of who they really are. But for people who really have been given over to a reprobate mind, which is you still believe that you can do certain things and operate in certain ways, and then you can present yourself to the world as if you're not who you are in secret. God says he's not mocked. You reap what you sow. So the things that you are sowing into yourself, believing that you are doing things against other people. Most people are confident in what they do that they know is wrong, is because it tends to be groups of people who do it together. People who are striving to really become the best version of themselves, they tend to be individual, maybe two, maybe three, but they tend to have to operate from a solo stance to really do their inner work. But one of the greatest things that gives people confidence in knowing that the things that they doing behind the scenes ain't right is that you've been given over to a reprobate mind, meaning you have found every justifiable reason to give yourself the freedom to act upon other people in a way that you must be deceived to not think that you won't be held accountable for that. This live wasn't playing because they cleaning the room right now. So I said, you know what? Let me come out, get some fresh air, raining a little bit. But I just tell people to just to be focused on being genuine. Don't get caught up and don't allow yourself to get caught up to the very point to where you self-destruct because you believe that just including myself, we believe that we can operate in certain ways against people that we know is not right. Like the word talks about a seared consciousness. We do things, we have given ourselves over to things, and the more deeper you get in doing things in the darkness, the more you will reflect a false light that will be perceived as being real to yourself because you know the depths of how far you've gone to operate in a certain manner. You will literally deceive yourself into believing that the people or the person that you're coming up against or attacking is really your enemy. As if you really got a like you got to really sit back and think about the psychology of that when everything is already shifted. And God said it in his word, there's nothing hidden that won't be made plain. He's not mocked. We have to reap what we sow. God says you will be judged accordingly to the same measure of judgment that you use against others. And if this divine God is truly in control of everything and all things and the creator of everything and all things, even the darkness, then you would have to think that, well, if I'm choosing to operate on the dark side, God is still going to use it for his plan, for his glory. I'm just going to have to deal with the consequences of that, of those choices. I'm being real right now, man. So when they talk about chosen ones, it's not like, oh, you're just chosen. God chose you. Nah, when you are quote unquote what they call chosen, you best believe that a part of being chosen is you gonna have things come up against you. Them spirits and principalities and wickedness in high places, and the physical vessels and organizations and groups in this earthly realm that have made the decision to align themselves with those spirits and principalities and wickedness in high places, you best believe they're going to be allowed to test you, to come up against you. How many individuals did God choose in the Bible? Because there's a whole lot of names in the Bible. There's a whole lot of names, but how many names do you remember? And so think about it. Everyone that God chose to highlight, whether it be Job, whether it be Joseph, whether it be any of the disciples, whether it be Moses, Aaron, whoever, Mary, whoever God chose to highlight, look at what they went through. That's why I don't really be claiming all that, like, yeah, we the chosen ones. I'm the chosen one. You know what comes with that? So guess what? The majority of those, the majority of those who believe that they have been chosen by God in the spirit realm, guess what? In this earthly realm, more than likely, you were chosen by your family to be the black sheep, to be the sacrifice, to be the scapegoat. That's the correspondence. In God's kingdom, in the spirit realm, he said, I'm going to choose you. In this earthly realm, the yin and the yang to that is that your family. Remember, the word of God says your enemies are those of your own household, and to pray for your enemies. Your enemies are those of your own household. I don't have to get personal and get in my feelings. You know why? Because I don't have time to have setbacks or delays. I don't have time to be battling against other people's emotions. I don't have time to be battling against the time that people take out of their lives to just be silly. Yo, that's your choice. That's your decision. That's what you'll be held accountable for. That's your time. That's your life. That's what you invest in it. So the more that comes against you when you understand what's really going on, the depths of what's really going on. There's a lot of things that the church can't, the American church can't necessarily teach you, because if you operate as a 501c3, there are certain guidelines and rules and regulations on what you can or can't speak on. And even within God's kingdom, he has certain laws and principles and rules and regulations set up to where there's things that we can't speak on. Even Jesus said, when I speak to the people, I speak to them in parables. But when I talk to my disciples, I speak plainly, openly. It's different. That's why I don't always just try to come on and like, yo, let me tell you this. And this is, nah, man. It's always from a place of love. Even if you don't like me, even if you're taking the time out of your life to come on this YouTube live and leave comments that are silly, you sitting in the room that you in right now, and you sitting in your office, wherever you at right now, that's where you at. Your physical body is sitting there, and you looking at the phone, looking at me, and you typing whatever you typing, and you thinking and feeling whatever you feeling. But there's so much more going on inside of you, and it'll be evident to you based on the things that you put out. It should be evident to you. Then you sit back and say, man, what am I need to focus on, man. What's really going on with me? But see, when you understand the reality of how spirits, principalities, wickedness in high places, how entities, how certain forms of warfare operates, then you'll understand why people operate the way they operate. the insecurity, the fear, the jealousy, the envy, the hatred, the narcissism, the ego, the pride, the arrogance, wanting to have that feeling of like, yeah, versus like, yeah, wait, what am like when I say, man, like check this out. I don't like to speak about, you know how there are people on YouTube that'll speak about their family? Like they'll talk about the things that they went through with their family and what their family did to them, and they were the black sheep, and their family didn't do this and didn't do that, and whatever the case. You know why I never speak on I'll say my relatives because I haven't had the opportunity to experience my relatives as my family. But like I said, when you are supposedly chosen by God, that means that in this earthly realm, you are going to be chosen as that black sheep, as that you're gonna be the enemy of your household. To your household, which means your tribe, because you got to think, God thinks in terms of tribe, the 12 tribes of Judah. When Paul wrote letters, he was writing them to the tribes, the 12 tribes that are scattered abroad. When he wrote to people, he was writing to the Colossians, the Ephesians, the Romans. He was writing to different groups and cultures and mindsets, to the way of life that the Romans lived, the Ephesians lived, the Corinthians lived. We are not taught to think in terms of tribes and culture. So my enemy is not of other races. It don't matter how they feel about me. They could be racist, call me the N word, don't like me, conspire together. You know how, especially how every indigenous black man feels or black person feels. It feels like the whole world is against you at times. Like nobody, everybody trying to practice psychological warfare on you. Everybody trying to evil eye you. Everybody is trying to trigger you and cause you. Everybody. But it's like I'm not even focused on that. I'm just focused on my own tribe. I'm focused on my own because that's where my real enemies are. But you know what? What did God say do? Pray for them. God never told me, hey, come online and expose your family, expose this and expose that, say this and say that, hold on to resentment and why this and why that and why I had to go. Nah, bruh. If you truly are converted and transformed, if you truly have gone through that healing process and you heal from your childhood trauma, if you ain't playing games with yourself and playing games with your life, you're supposed to be a fully functional adult. And you mean to tell me you can sit on a phone and play games? You got time to do that? Man, your bank account must be looking good. Man, you must you really live in the American dream. Pray for those of your own household. The majority of the people that come on my YouTube live ain't even of my tribe. They're not of my household. So I can't even consider you to be an enemy to me. I don't care what you say, what you type, what you think. I don't care what level of a sorcerer or wizard or magician or practitioner or voodoo priest. I ain't focused on none of that. You know why? Because I understand the reality of how powerful the word of God talked about sorcerers, familiar spirits. Talked about all that. That ain't nothing new. And God never downplayed and said, oh, witches and warlocks, they weak. They ain't got no power. Man, I ain't talking about no kitchen witches or no Google recipes. People be Googling, and I'm talking about there are bloodlines out here, man, that they were born into. It's bloodline. It's tradition. It's a way of life. My great, 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 great grandmother and grandfather were high level practitioners, and they passed it down to us. They came out the womb being trained up in the art of warfare. I don't take that lightly. That's the one thing you should never do is disrespect or downplay the opposing force that believes themselves to be an enemy against you because they consider you to be an enemy to them. I don't downplay that. So when I talk about God, when I talk about the reality of what I believe and who I believe created me and gave me life and redeemed me, I take it very serious and I believe in it wholeheartedly because I've been able to witness and see things and feel things on the opposite end of the opposing forces. And these individuals are not playing. They're not playing. This is why you never downplay. That's the one thing that I believe the enemy has done a great job of those that he deceives and uses is that he gets them to downplay the reality of God and gets them to downplay the reality of who God is choosing to work through because we operate out of a certain level of love and peace and genuine humility. So we look like we weak. You seem so much more powerful, right? When you operating out of anger and you just evil eyeing somebody and you about to do this little spell and you about to destroy somebody. That just seems so much powerful, don't it? And then you see us, man. I just pray for you. I don't harbor nothing in my heart against you, man. Smiling and just feeling good, man. And it's like, and it's genuine. Oh, we just seem like some suckers. Jesus hanging on the cross. When Jesus was hanging on the cross and he said, "Forgive them for they know not what they do," he wasn't praying for them. He was praying to the Father, already interceding on their behalf because he already knew the vengeance of. Imagine if Jesus is hanging on the cross and a part of the purpose of the Father's plan was him to be on the cross. If the Father allowed his son to go through that, imagine what he gonna do to those who put him on the cross. So if the Father is allowing those he has chosen to go through hell, to go through poverty and homelessness, to have people trying to cast spells and curses, people that you don't even know, just being silly and ignorant and saying anything and just being like, really? You're a fully mature, developed adult? You mean to tell me you have time to come on YouTube live and be silly and then you go sit down with people that you love, your family, you laugh and you smile and you eat and you happy and you go to work and nah, there's something deeply rooted inside you that needs to be healed. There's something deeply rooted inside you that something is not fully calibrated because you just got to look at how you present yourself. Somebody said focus on today and not ancient times, but yet you turn over the back of a dollar bill and it has a pyramid on it. You talking about folk don't focus on ancient times, focus on today. But if you just look at the wardrobe of a Mason or a Shriner or the Scottish Rites or anybody in a society, you'll see that they're very much focused on ancient times. This whole society and civilization that was built in America was the blueprint was ancient times because it wasn't ancient times. It was the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding and the science that ain't got nothing to do with time. That's like telling people in other cultures, hey, all that practicing and stuff you doing right now, that was ancient. Why you still doing that? That's like telling other cultures, why you still eating that food? That was ancient times. Go get you some Chick-fil-A. That's like telling other cultures, why you dress like that? Man, take them clothes off and put on some Gucci. That was ancient times. Man. But every time it comes to the kingdom of God, every time it comes to the kingdom, not a church building with people in it, but the kingdom of God within the people. Focus on today. You living off of a calendar that wasn't even created accordingly to what you call today. Focused on a calendar that was created by men to where you don't even truly know what today is because in your mind, it's November 4th, 2024. That's what today is, huh? It's Monday, the day of the moon, 2024. See, when you ain't even focused on today or tomorrow or yesterday, you just stay within the moment. You stay in the moment. Then you understand what always has been, and what will be, and what always will be. Because in all reality, what is time? What is today? What is tomorrow? So you mean to tell me this universal God that created that big ball of light in the sky, that if it touches my skin, it changes my DNA and changes my, you mean to tell me he gonna say, that's Monday, that's Wednesday, that's Thursday, that's Friday. Now, when it's Monday, stay within Monday. Because how many times are we gonna experience Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Here we go again. That's why people stay in cycles, stay in cycles, running in a 7-day wilderness. It ain't even 40 years no more. They just shorten it to 7-day cycles. You enter into God's rest. Every day is yesterday, today, and tomorrow at the same time. You got high level elite individuals that's running things who base their whole foundation and how they operate in this world off of ancient times. It's crazy. Nobody said anyone was a victim, but everyone has a choice to act like they a victim. And you know who tends to act like a victim? Two people, those who are actually victims, like children. Those can be, if they're things that are coming against children, they are victims. A person who wakes up and they are focused on their life, focused on their purpose, but you dealing with all these different programs and simulations and groups and organizations and societies and covens that's coming against you, and you just focused on what God is, your purpose. You ain't trying to come against nobody. You ain't even trying to expose nobody. You ain't even sitting back saying, whoa, it's me, man. All these people, man, everywhere I go somewhere, there's always somebody following me and this and that. Nah. In my mind, it's like, shoot, that's just low-level paparazzi. Get a pic. Because everything is so open now, ain't nothing a secret. So ain't nobody playing victim. And in all reality, no one is a victim unless you don't have the capability to defend yourself, protect orphans and widows, those who are not fully mentally and emotionally developed to be able to protect themselves and to know what's going on, those who us who understand what's really going on. We are to protect them. A narcissistic victim is a person who believes that they can do whatever they want against other people, but when things come against them, they tend to have a problem with it. People who have no problem doing things against other people, but when the same thing comes back to them, now they the victim. Instead of saying, you know what? Yeah, I was doing that. I shouldn't have been operating like that. I should to see people begin to believe that we can operate anyway and do whatever we want. You know, one of the greatest, what we call sin, the things that we do that go against who God has created us to be. You know, one of the things that God hates outside of all the things that we try to look at and judge, gossiping, backbiting, slandering, bearing false witness, placing stumbling blocks on the path of other people, sitting back and plotting and planning on how you're going to destroy somebody's life. Well, so when you came out your mama's womb, that's what your purpose was in life. That's why you was created. We got this election coming up, seeing who's going to become president. A lot of things have taken place this year. A lot of things going on social media. A lot of things happening, but I'm gonna tell you right now, just do the inner work. and be honest with yourself. You can't keep doing things knowing that it's not right just because everybody's doing it. It don't work like that. People be thinking that we the sheep. I'll be like, I've been through my journey and my ups and downs. I've been able to travel, and if I go to one state, then I go to another state, then I go to another state, and in every state I go to, I see everybody operate in the same way. Like, wait a minute, ain't no such thing as no subliminal warfare, psychological warfare, because everything is seen now. It's seen. I see you. You're just letting me know who you are. Therefore, what I possess inside of me, which is not a game, I can keep that on reserve. I'd rather just have you thinking that I'm just a dummy and I don't know what's going on you know, and just keep doing you. Everything understood don't need to be explained. Everybody want to be a part of something. Everybody want to be grouped up and clicked up. Everybody want to be at a certain level in the status within their organizations, but nobody want to be organized inside. Everybody want to be connected to some group, but nobody want to be connected to what's inside of them. Take time, man, to really just evaluate yourself, because in the end, that's all you got. It ain't gonna be you and your fraternity or sorority in a casket together. It's gonna be you in it. This ain't no group gathering. This is a single file line. I'm not speaking. Listen to what I'm saying. I don't need to speak evil against any group or organization because everything has a yin and a yang. I would be a fool to speak evil against any organization. Whatever choices anyone has made, whatever anyone has signed up for to do, whatever anyone decided that this is what they wanted to be a part of, okay, for sure. But to violate my spiritual law, to violate my spiritual rights, and to believe that you have the right to come up against me, to try to block me, stop me, hinder me, curse me, kill me, destroy me, lie on me, defame you believe that's why you came out of the womb. That's you touching on a whole different frequency. And because we go through our day praising God, glorifying God, thanking God. Just, Lord, we praise you. We still smiling. And people are looking back at all the things that they doing and they get more upset because it's not affecting you or having the effect that they wanted it to have. Or they haven't destroyed you yet, or you haven't fallen off, or as soon as you get put in a pit, God brings you out of it. As soon as you get put in the prison, God releases you and raises you up. As soon as you get stripped of everything, God gives you back more, just like he did Job. And they sitting back getting more angry and more You know why? Because every time we praise God and glorify God and thank God and lift him up and acknowledge him, and we say, Lord, we ain't gonna take vengeance, we gonna put it in your hands. We not gonna curse nobody, we gonna bless them and lift it up to you. Lord, forgive them for they know not what they do. Because if they understood how ruthless you truly are, the more they come against us, the more we transmute that and give it to you through prayer and worship and lifting you up and exalting you and thanking you for the goodness and greatness of who you are. And this is why you truly created us. Then guess what you gonna do? Oh, you're going to take care of everything that is trying to come up against your worship, your glory, your praise, and ultimately the purpose and reason why you created us and gave us life, redeemed us from death, restored us, put us in a position to even glorify you, honor you, and praise you, even giving us that mustard seed of faith to even acknowledge something that we have never seen before. But when I look at my life and everything that I've been through and everything that I've gone through, there is no way I would have made it out without something greater. And if I was operating out of darkness and wickedness, having to put on a form of godliness, I really would have made it out. Because the majority of those individuals who operate in that energy, they clicked up, they grouped up, they teamed up. Those of us who go through what we go through, we tend to be solo, bolo, dolo. And this is why people think that we easy targets, not knowing that in the spirit realm, man, we got so many. I just don't understand how so many other titles and labels that operate out of darkness believes in all their powers and all their forces and what they able to conjure up and what they able to do, but they look at us and act like we ain't got no power, we ain't got no forces, we ain't got no because I haven't dealt with my own insecurity and my own trauma. I don't like how confident you are. So it's my job and my position to humble you. Right. Nah. I genuinely pray for those who have made themselves an enemy against me based on the deception of those who have given themselves over to powers and forces that are actually enemies against them. Because it don't matter what these entities offer you, the one thing they can't offer you is eternal life at a certain level and state of being, to where when you die to this physical body, the way you operated in this realm, in this physical body, we ain't talking about no Sunday morning school religious, you're going to hell and you're going to burn in hell. Man, what they be teaching the church about what we call hell is like going to Disneyland. In comparison, in comparison, is nothing in comparison to what's really waiting. People think that heaven is, oh, heaven, you just in the sky and it's clouds and angels and it's just lights. Didn't Jesus say about John the Baptist that John was one of the greatest prophets of all those who came before him, but because of his disbelief at the end, he is the least in the kingdom? Wait a minute. If he the least in the kingdom, there must be some type of order and ranking system within kingdoms. See, we don't study the kingdom as kingdom. We looking at it like it's a church. Oh, we all gonna be in heaven singing. It's just praising. It's just the government rests upon his shoulders. Wait, what? A government? Huh? He is the King of Kings, huh? So there's kings in the kingdom. The Holy Spirit is an ambassador of the kingdom. What? Okay. In the kingdom, John John is the greatest prophet to ever live in this physical realm, but in the kingdom of God, he's the least. Huh? What? The least to what? What does that mean? We don't ask questions. We don't really dive in. We just there's a lot of ego, man, a lot of trauma, a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, a lot of people that's trying to prove something. A lot of silly warfare, man. I always tell people in order to pull somebody down, you already have to be at the bottom. You can't pull somebody down from the top. It don't matter how much in this earthly realm you believe yourself to be at a high level. You can't try to destroy someone or pull somebody down unless you at the bottom and you already defeated. That's on God. That's on God, man. Do that inner work. A lot of us are still caterpillars dressed up as a butterfly because we don't want to go in that cocoon. We don't want to go in that cocoon. A lot of us are caterpillars dressed up as butterflies because we don't want to go in that cocoon. You rarely see two or three butterflies flying together. When you go to those certain like um what is it called? Like you know how they got the aquarium, the zoo and stuff, the animals, they got that butterfly thing where they got a whole bunch of butterflies just flying around in that. But rarely just out in life. When's, when's the last time you seen a group of butterflies just flapping together? Just like 50 of them. When's the last time you seen a group of butterflies, man? When you that caterpillar and you get to that butterfly, because see, the butterfly is connected to other butterflies in a way to where they don't have to be like grouped up. They connect energetically. It's different. That transformation does something. Why do you think when it comes to the MK Ultra programming and the monarch effect, the butterfly effect, they use a butterfly? Sometimes people allow themselves to be deceived to where they go from a caterpillar to something else. Like, you a lie. That's not a butterfly. Uh-uh. What have you allowed yourself to become in that cocoon? I knew today was gonna be different this week. Things are not the same. November's different. The vibe is different. It's just different. Those who have been really putting in that work, man, you ain't got to worry about anything that anyone is doing behind the scenes. You ain't got to worry about anything that people are trying to do on the scene. You got to already have this expectation that wherever you go, it's going to be known where you at because you're not just anybody. I've accepted that. It ain't about trying to be better than people. But when you've been sold into certain programs, when you understand, like the Truman Show with Jim Carrey, that the majority of your life has been a stage with a whole bunch of paid actors to pretend, to trigger you, to try to traumatize you, to try to implant certain thoughts and that's why half the time when I'm speaking, I'm literally speaking to those who have ears to hear and eyes to see, and more importantly, I'm speaking to the elite from a very strategic and place of understanding, as to say everything understood don't need to be explained. I'm not a child. I've been through a lot. And I didn't make it this far because of me being clicked up and grouped up with anybody or having unlimited and unconditional support. I had to really tap into something greater than myself. And I'm going to tell you right now, the God that I serve, he don't need none of the stuff that all these titles and labels need on this earth to try to conjure up something. He needs your heart. He needs your heart. That's why the opposing forces spend so much time trying to affect the system that God has created within us, that color code system that is within us to keep us from being able to truly embrace unconditional love, to try to keep us so traumatized and to keep us so closed off that we don't even want to receive love because we don't trust nobody and we don't know who's for us or not for us. And people come into your lives and they pretend like they love you and they support you, but they really had hidden intentions and motives, and then they cut you off and what they call ghosting you. And now you're afraid to connect with anybody because you just believe that people are just gonna fake in front and they just gonna ghost you. All it's all this is not a game. To some people, they think it's a game because they think that they got time and they think because what they're connected to will protect them from anything coming up against them. But there are powers and forces in unseen realms that are way greater than anything that can protect you in this earthly realm. And don't play stupid because majority of people know what they be doing behind the scenes when they be wishing things upon people and trying to conjure up things and trying to wish things upon people. But I'm gonna tell you, love is not a weakness, and love is not an emotion. It's not an emotion. Love is like breathing. Much love and respect to you in a very genuine and authentic way because you had the choice and options to type something on the screen very silly, but you decided to say much love and respect. And it's all blessings to everybody. You have the freedom. If I'm making the choice to come on YouTube live and put myself out there like this, that means you have the choice to type anything you gonna type, and it ain't gonna ever get no judgment from me. Because like I said, I can't deny myself, man. It's always love and respect. I'm not gonna disrespect myself by disrespecting you by being made to feel like I'm being disrespected or you're saying something to hurt. Man, I done been through so much in my life. I don't even really operate out of emotions no more. I operate out of a state of being. Most people breathe out of their emotions. Calm down. But when you operate out of a state of being, yeah, I don't like you. You go around people, they got to do their little subliminal little attacks, doing extra. I'm like, ain't you a grown adult? Ain't you somebody's mama or daddy? I would not have understood how powerful the true and living God is, the one that created these trees. Right now, me and these trees have a relationship. What I breathe out, it breathes in, and what it releases, I breathe in, and it's a circle of life. But because you can't see the exchange, blessed are those who have not seen yet believe. But when you actually take the time to build a relationship with the trees, with Mother Earth, with Mother Nature, because it's not just what I'm breathing in based on what the trees are releasing, it's the fact that I don't know how deeply rooted it goes down. How deeply rooted does it go? And then you see the trees. You see them moving. You can feel something. See the tree, but you can't see what's moving it. If I said, what's causing those trees to move? You'll say, the wind. That's a title. That's a word. What is actually producing what you have titled and labeled wind? What is that? Where is it coming from? How is it produced? How can I feel it? I can't catch it in a jar. The only thing that I can do to get a better understanding of what it is to just. Now, it's very hard for me to communicate what's taking place inside of my body and inside of my lungs and what I'm feeling coursing through my central nervous system and through my mind and my body, and how my brain is getting more oxygenized and how my eyes seem to brighten up to where everything around me becomes more brighter when I breathe it in. When you breathe in so much oxygen, it's almost like you get lightheaded because the thoughts can be so heavy. The burdens of life starts in here. But if I look at the heavier I start, look at I showed you the trees before. I showed you it before, and they was chilling. But when I start breathing harder, the wind start blowing harder. What? So you mean to tell me that these trees are actually alive? They got life in them. They have a personality, and they communicate. They can communicate with me. I can communicate with them. How? By just breathing? And I see them moving. Oh, but I'm gonna dismiss the whole miracle, then the whole incomprehensible reality of how is that we don't even have enough time to do that because we geniuses, huh? We geniuses because Google done got us. feeling like we know everything. People who teach us how to do things against other people instead of teaching us how to do things for other people got us just feeling like we know something that you don't know. hmm I wake up every day knowing that there's an inheritance attached to my name, knowing that there are powers and forces that go hard up against you, not just because they don't like you, it's because they know your worth and your value. They think or believe that you don't know your worth or your value. They think or believe you don't understand the inheritance that your ancestors left for you, that your grandparents left for you. That ain't always just material or money, but I'm gonna tell you right now, just because you grew up as a slave doesn't mean the reality that you were born as a king ain't still embedded in your genetic code in your DNA. See, a king and a queen can have a child, give birth to that child. That child can be taken and then placed in the environment of a slave, but that child, even though is in slave conditions and may have to operate like a slave because it's all it knows, it doesn't take away from the fact that genetically, bloodline, it's still a king. So even as a slave, in the midst of slaves, it's going to operate differently. And guess what you have to do to a slave who has the genetic code of a king or a queen? You got to keep coming up against it, keep coming up against it, keep trying to beat it down, keep trying to make it feel like it's something that it's not. Because, see, it's not just about being born in like, oh, I'm a king. Because, see, if there's a king and a queen that gives birth to a child, that king and a queen came from a king and a queen. And it's not about these titles and labels, it's about the access that a king and a queen has when it comes to certain things. Most importantly, freedom of time and the ability to be able to eat certain foods that the average normal person doesn't have access to. So this king and queen, since the fruit of their mother's womb, was able to eat foods that corresponded with their genetics, their bloodline, their blood type. So it's not just about the fact of a title or a label. It's the fact of how well are you able to properly take care of yourself. Then you and a woman come together and you give birth to this child, and this child comes out with a certain blood type and a certain genetic code and a certain frequency and vibration. And depending on the purpose and plan that this divine creator who created all this has for that child, no matter how much you beat that child down, no matter how much you try to steal or destroy or kill or distract or deceive or delay, there's something in them that just gets more and more and more and more activated. With every form of hatred, with every negative energy, with every negative thought or word or agreement, with every thing that is conjured up, it snaps something inside of you and says, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm not focused on the who's and the days of what's being done. I'm focused on the what and the why it's being done towards me. So let me not focus on what other people are doing and then just judge that. That's when you get into the woe is me and playing victim. Let me focus on the reality of why me? Who am I to you? Who am I? What am I? See, there are people out there that believe that they know more about us than we know about ourselves, and they may have paperwork facts. They have certain facts and certain things, and they can trace your lineage. And they everybody's blood has been collected at some point in time in their life. Then, depending on what you are born into, There have been plots and plans and certain agreements that were made against your life before you even came out the womb. See, people think that the true knowledge is if people have things coming up against them, if people have things coming up against them, they think that the knowledge is, I know what's coming up against me. I know what you're doing. Then they give them all these titles and labels. All these titles and labels started coming out of nowhere. People ghosting you, gang stalkers, flying monkeys, energy vampires, evil eye workers, psychic attacks. All these different terminologies started to come out to identify the things that people were doing that at one point we just thought people were crazy or people didn't like me or whatever the case may be. So we think that because we got that knowledge, like this is how my mind always works. I can't help it. Breaking things down to its nucleus. When it comes down to it, money, money. A lot of people walking around, not understanding why they're going through what they're going through. And then you start to think that it's a game. So you got people out here that'll start putting people on camera. In the beginning, I used to do that, having people follow me around, people doing things like, why, bro? People just doing silly stuff that you would think like, why? And I always ask the question instead of getting irritated, instead of getting upset, instead of like, why are people following me? Why are people this? Why? Oh, no, it's like, why though? Why? I'm asking that. I genuinely want to know. Majority of people walking around worth millions of dollars and don't even know it because they think that the battle is won. And now I know you're this title and you're that title. That's still like a diversion. So now you happy because you think that, oh, I see the gang stalkers, I see the distractions, I see the psychological warfare, I know what people are doing. So you get so focused on that and thinking that you know, but you forgetting to like, why though? Why is this person that I'm genuinely doing my best to love and appreciate, to show love and would give my last for? Why would they pretend like they like me, then turn around and portray me and you ask the questions. It's not, I don't take it personal. I lost a lot at a very young age and I went through a lot at a very young age. So as I begin to grow and mature and develop, I would want to know the deeper reason because that don't make sense. If a person is going on, that's like you at your job and you're doing everything the boss tells you to do. This is what I hired you for. You're doing everything, and this is the thing, and you add an extra sauce on it. I'm gonna put some extra sauce on it, man. Cause man, I'm not trying to show off. I'm not trying to compete with nobody, man. I wanna be something. I'm happy for the opportunity. So you going hard, and then all of a sudden people start playing games with you, start being silly. People spend more time crossing their arms when they talk to you than they open their arms to hug you and love on you. People spend more time putting their hands behind their back than they do putting their hands up in the sky to worship and praise. I'm like, why? Money. You know, back in the day, how it was done. Grandparents, when grandparents, cause see, back in the day, a lot of when the black family, when the indigenous family started really getting separated, when they really start getting separated, and the fathers were not in the home, and the mothers were on government assistance and being single moms. And back then, when the grandmothers were very active, the grandparents were very active, the children spent a lot of time with the grandparents. Check this out. Like in when it started to get like this, when it's like the 60s, the 70s, after like the civil rights and all that stuff, and the Vietnam War and all that, and the black homes started, really being systematically destroyed. But the grandparents were very much active, especially the grandmother. The children spent a lot of time with the grandmother because now the mothers in the home became single moms. The fathers were just not all there because of what we were going through psychologically. So the grandchildren spent a lot of time with the grandparents, and it got to the point to where a lot of times the children were raised by their grandparents. The grandparents of that time were smart, not they were smart in the sense, I'm gonna just say, like, they were smart in the sense to where they would see and understand the reality of that generational curse. And so for those grandparents that couldn't reach their grandchildren, their grandsons and granddaughters was running the streets, getting pregnant at young ages, joining gangs, killing and being killed. You know what these grandparents started doing? This grandparent said, you know what? I can already see my knucklehead grandson, he ain't gonna make it. It ain't rocket science. The way he's living, the life that he's living, he either gonna be locked up in jail or he gonna be dead or he gonna be strung out on something. When you simplify life, these are the three options. You either gonna be strung out on something, you're gonna be either locked up in jail or you gonna be dead. The grandparents are thinking. So what did the grandparents do? The grandparents start taking life insurance out. And it wasn't just for the sole purpose of, yeah, I'm about to get this money. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do everything I can to either get him strung out, get him killed, or get him locked up. 'Cause they got a life insurance. They started putting life insurance policies on the grandchildren, start investing money in that life insurance policy because either the child wasn't gonna make it or the child was gonna make it, and at least they had something to fall back on because their parents weren't really there. A lot of the parents got taken out by the crack era during the Vietnam War. A lot of soldiers came back, with PTSD and heroin addictions and alcoholics. And then in the 70s, the whole black exploitation with pimping and being a pimp and being a hoe became a big thing. So the whole dynamic of the family structure just got destroyed. But see, the grandmama was still tapped in. So the grandma said, you know what? I'm gonna put a life insurance policy on you, and I'm gonna pay into that. So if anything happens to you, we can pay for the funeral, we can bury you, we're gonna have a little bit of money, or if you actually make it through, you go to college, whatever the case may be, guess what? We'll have something saved up for you. We'll have something saved up for you. As time went on, people begin to understand the life insurance game, a living trust game, to where now instead of you just naturally going through things in the world and going through in the streets and you dealing with trauma of not having your mom and dad, or you dealing with the trauma of the abuse and a lot of a lot of abuse to children, and then they grow up and they not healed, and it's just, you just trying to figure this thing out. Now it got to the point to where people started looking at this like it was a business. Now you got now you got people purposely destroying people's lives, getting their children, getting them in caught up in the system, putting them in foster homes, getting them in group homes, placing them in certain, you know, shelters, but they already got this child's life mapped out. They already they already been monitoring this child. So it ain't no coincidence that this child has been steered going a certain direction. Because when that child was a child, they decided that they're gonna make this a business to do a living trust and life insurance policies. That child gets older and don't even know they got millions and millions of dollars in their name. You didn't know. And so it would be best Because back then it was natural, but now it's being forced, premeditated. We either got to get this person strung out, we got to get this person locked up, or we got to get this person off so we can collect on this money. If it's a real organized system, now you just forging documents and forging signatures. Got people within certain organizations. Enough said on that though. But that's all leading to the fact of when people say they chosen, when you're going through what you're going through, when you are those of us who understand the world we live in, there ain't one hotel or motel where I've ever walked in. And I could tell by the first 2 days or 3 days that I'm there, I could tell they don't know who I am. They operate different. It's a different energy. After like 3 or 4 days of me being in a certain area, you can already tell something and someone has already communicated a certain energy to them because the whole vibe changes and the energy changes. It's no different like the Matrix. When Agent Smith jumps into different bodies, it ain't no longer them. It's Agent. That's okay. There's something that's greater that's in control of it all. Whatever created the ability of this wind right now, y'all see these trees dancing? See, that wind is so powerful that if you mix that wind with some heavy rain and it decides that it don't want the rain to stop, and I documented it. When I was in Florida during the hurricane, I got video footage. That's why I say I'm not just talking just to hear myself or because I'm bored or, hey guys, when I said I was in Florida during that hurricane and I documented it, I recorded it with this phone. I was like, what? So if it decided that it wanted to make this wind a lot stronger and make it rain a lot harder, that's all it would need to tear up everybody's world. Everybody got time to play games with other people's lives. But as soon as Mother Nature hit, as soon as God says this is what it's going to be, now you're trying to make sure you got enough toilet paper for the week. You ain't thinking about let me come on YouTube live and type in some silly stuff. Now you got to make sure you got enough water for the week. You got to make sure you got. I witnessed some stuff in Florida, man. That's why I see why I got out when I was out there. They had signs that said out of gas. There was no gas. The power was out. You can only buy a certain amount of water and toilet paper. Imagine walking in the store and all the water, all the toilet paper gone. You go to the gas station and it literally, there's a sign on the door that says out of gas. The power is off. I'm sitting in the hotel room like, dang. Then you open your door, like you looking up at the sky and it don't even look normal. So when people see me smiling, they see me happy, they see me coming on YouTube live, they see me expressing myself, they see me kicking my little raps, they see me posting my videos. Oh, you best believe it ain't got nothing to do with ego. It ain't got nothing to do with me needing attention from nobody. It ain't got nothing to do with me trying to come on, expose something, expose somebody. It ain't got nothing to do with me feeling like I'm a victim and woe is me. Listen to me. It ain't got nothing to do with me being affected by anybody with their silliness and whatever you decide to do. Man, it has everything to do with doing the best that I can in faith to release something that inspires anything to go within. There's a whole world inside of us. People be thinking that they hungry, not realizing they got parasites in them that are very intelligent, saying, feed me, feed me. People be thinking about devils and demons and spirits all in the sky and floating around, not realizing that a parasite can be considered a demon. Parasite, something very intelligent. Parasites are intelligence. And if you put a parasite under a microscope and look at it, it look like a demon. Got little teeth. Oh, bruh. We so busy fighting wars on outside of us. We so busy focusing on what's outside of us. We so focused trying to do things and conjure up things based on utilizing things outside of not knowing that everything is really going on within. We got intelligent parasites that live inside the body that don't like you, but you think it is you not liking the person, but it's the parasite in you that don't like you. Parasites ain't trying to eat organic vegetables and fruits and drink alkalized water because then they can't exist. Parasites ain't trying to have you thinking positive and feeling love and peace and joy and getting fresh air and just feeling life because they can't exist. So these parasites that are inside of the body that are very intelligent are actually feeding you through signals and emotions so they can stay alive. But you thinking about the spookisms. And there ain't to say that there aren't entities out here, because God even talks about that. There are some entities and forces out here in the spirit realm that ain't got that they don't care nothing about no feelings or emotions. If you look at how people act, you could tell when you're dealing with an entity and a person because it's almost like they don't care about children, they don't care about you, they don't care about life. It's just think about something in you that doesn't like you, but it projects itself through you to think that you don't like that person. I don't like that. I don't like you. I don't, when the whole time it's the entity in you, it's the parasite within you that don't like you. So it has to keep you deceived and believing that you don't like something outside of yourself because it's actually what's in you that don't like you. And it makes you feel like you by not liking that person. You can only like you if you don't like that person. Because if I really like that person, that means I don't like me. When it's actually the opposite. Everything you despise about yourself is what you actually like about that person. But because what you see about that person, you don't see within yourself because you got that something in you that's keeping you from seeing that 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 power and love and peace and joy and harmony. So you see it in somebody else and it becomes something that you feel like you got to destroy, you got to stop. And then they attach this illusion of money and success and fame and all of that when it really comes down to just possessing your soul. Because if you understood how dimensions works, how energy harvesting works, you'll understand that there are certain entities in this realm that can't reach certain dimensions. So they need to get your energy. Then there are those who sold themselves out to the point to where they already know that they ain't going to the highest heights of certain levels when it comes to frequencies and vibrations and dimensions and realms, to where they know we got to gather up as much energy as we can. Most people they don't even understand how this stuff works. Now, anybody that's operating at a scientific level, anybody that's operating and understanding how mind control works and studies the human body and the psychology of human beings, anyone has done their research, they ain't gonna get on here on YouTube talking about, oh, you crazy, man. What you talking about, man? Hey, yo, God ain't real. They're gonna be like, damn. There could be one person right there on there, but in all reality, there could be a whole bunch of people 30, 40 people sitting back and watching this live. They're not gonna let me know. You don't know. All of this stuff is controlled in a very systematic and organized way for a purpose and a reason that I don't judge. I don't judge, man. I feel that YouTube is one of the greatest creations ever created when it comes to you ain't gonna ever hear me talking about man, YouTube, man. They be shadow banning me and they don't be paying me, man. You know what I'm saying? They don't be giving I'm like, man. And I ain't trying to come on here and be all crazy. I'm gonna say this and say that and talk about this and I'm gonna expose that. Man, who am I? I'm just trying to tell people, man, learn how to love yourself so you can stop wasting time on hating other people. That's the moral of my story. And everything understood you can't explain because you can't limit it to the English language because a lot of it is experiences of what you have to go through. So I'm not going to rob somebody of experiencing what they need to experience because now I just said something and they think they know it, but you don't really know what somebody's saying unless you really experience. There's a lot of people that have a lot of experiences behind what they're saying, but they come on recklessly and they start saying all this stuff and saying all that and saying it's like, yo, you're telling people all these things that may not be meant for them to know. But you can always tell somebody and kind of really help someone to learn how to love themselves. I ain't gonna come on here and be, oh yeah, the government and this and that and this organization and this group. Nah. A lot of times when you hear me talking about anything like that to a very minute degree, is because of those who are monitoring me and watching me, which they do. It could just be sometimes it's kind of like I'm never gonna surrender or wave the white flag because I ain't doing nothing to have to do that. And I'm not gonna expect the opposition to wave the red flag and surrender. But we gonna have to come to an agreement on this. You can't you can't keep thinking that I don't know who I am or what's really going on. And you have to understand that once you evolve into an intelligent being and you're healed of trauma and you're not operating out of emotions, you become very careful and wise in how you communicate certain things because not everything is meant to be known. There's a lot that I know that I would never speak on YouTube and say. Some things I wouldn't even tell nobody unless they was willing to pay to hear it. Because you can't just say everything just to be telling somebody and so they can just some things you gotta pay the price for. Like I paid the price and I went through certain things. So I'm not gonna come on YouTube and be like, yeah, this and that and this group and that and this and that. Nah, man, blessings to everybody, bro. It just don't make no sense for certain people to make certain choices to go through certain process to get initiated in certain groups, and now they feel like they have the right to take you through hell. You made that choice. That's you. You're not gonna make me feel like I gotta jump through hoops and do this, and you gotta test me and prove this and prove. Man, there's only one test that I need to conquer, and that's being in a position of real wealth and success. And I mean that. You can't test me with poverty. Overcame that. You can't test me with homelessness, abandonment, isolation, rejection, abuse, witchcraft, hoodoo, root work, warfare. You can't test me with that no more. That's like bullets off of Superman's chest and there ain't no kryptonite around. Bing, 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 bing. We gonna hit him with the evil eye. Hit up the team. Let them know. Put the picture on the altar. It's go time. I'm just sitting there like, man, I can feel all these attacks. And I'm sitting there, man, drinking my orange juice like, I wake up in the middle of the night, bruh. Like, Father, you waking me up out of my sleep for this, and I gotta go to war and transmute some energy, and I gotta ask, am I to send this back to where it came from, or do you want me to transmute this and just give it to you? Y'all be thinking that people just out here deaf, dumb, and blind and stupid, and then people be thinking that, oh, you know what? We gonna test our powers. Man, the way time is flying by, the way things are changing, it ain't gonna be no more. You do something wicked and foul, and it takes years to roll back around. It's gonna be like you ain't gonna even be able to get the evil thought out because it's just gonna implode inside your own brain. You sitting there using your brain and your thoughts to think evil, you gonna have to deal with that. That's your thoughts. That's your energy. That's your choice. It ain't got nothing to do with me. If I did something to you to make you feel some type of way to where you're willing to go on that level to try to keep me from being a father and a provider to my children, to try to keep me from being living a life accordingly to the work that I'm willing to put in, you need to come and see me face to face. So what's really going on? Half these people do what their organizations tell them to do. They don't even know us like that. But you feel like because you had to go through your initiation process, and you still may have to go through certain things and to prove your loyalty that you trying to take that out on other people. That's your choice. Stop. Those are the people that play the victim. People sign contracts, take oaths, join organizations, sign up to go through whatever they got to go through, but they want to get mad at you because they chose to make you the target for their choices. Now you got a problem with me. That's you. That's that needs some psychological evaluation. That needs. You know what I think this divine being for keeping me in my right state of mind because all of this stuff is to get you to try to just go out of your mind, lose your mind, be so paranoid, to live in fear. Ah, conociendo, para estar rezando que todo corazón para ti. Hey, yo, but check this out. Keep this intact. Whatever you do, keep this intact. People will literally sit there right in front of your face, knowing that they mean you no well, talking as if they just, yeah, man, great job. Oh, yeah, yeah. Inside their mind, they got a whole nother agenda and plot and plan. They didn't already didn't sign a contract. They didn't already took a deposit and they waiting to get the rest of it. And they just gonna keep playing this game. I don't feel comfortable. I'd rather just be to myself. I could just I'm just a different breed. I'm just gonna sit there and smile in your face. Oh, what's going on? Hey, yeah, so this is what we gonna do. Okay, but behind the scenes, okay. Yeah. So how much? So that's what we gonna get? How much time we got? Okay, let me call up my team. But see, the biggest mistake you can make is coming up against those who have children. And there's something inside of us when it comes to our children to where we don't play because we look at everything that has been done to us, what people believe that they can continue to do to us. And then we think about our children. In the world we live in now, we thought it was ruthless before. This new generation, death is normal. They quick to kill than they are to fight, to even argue. Y'all think I'm just gonna sit on YouTube live and just, yeah, we just playing out here. This is a game out here. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let me stun. Let me man. Ooh. This is so bigger than me. This is so beyond me that I know as one person in this physical body, this is beyond anything I can try to do in this physical realm. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not wasting my time doing nothing that is degrading to myself in secret. To where when I go in front of people openly, I gotta put on this show like I'm something that's just righteous and pure and noble, knowing damn well you foul, knowing all the stuff you do behind the scenes. You know that anybody were to see you do that openly, you put on that form of godliness, and you know the reality of the God that I serve, He still loves you. He still don't judge you. That's why I don't judge. Because there was one point in time where I was foul. But my foulness came out of a place of ignorance and trauma and being dead consciously. It wasn't me being believing that I was consciously alive because I still don't believe a lot of people are consciously alive or aware of the choices that they make because they doing it for certain things, but they don't understand the repercussions and ramifications for the choices that they make. And that's why Jesus said they know not what they do. Because if they understood, most people when they sign up to go against people, they only looking at the accolades. They're only looking at what they're gonna get. They don't look at the reality of what the price that they gonna have to pay, and that's the season that we in. You can't sign up to destroy somebody's life for status and money and fame and ranking, and not think that even if you don't get them consequences in this realm, there's levels to this, baby. There's levels to this. I speak this out of love. I didn't even plan on this, man. I don't even plan on like you're about to come on and kick some game to man. You know, it gets to a point, man, to where you live in a world to where you see so much heartless individuals that you just It's at a point to where I don't do things out of emotion. Like I'm not like, man, I don't feel sorry for nobody. I don't feel bad for nobody. What I do feel for is I feel for innocent women and children, and I feel for real men who really desire to be better, and everything is coming up against them. Real men who just need the opportunity to prove that they really are serious about their life and that they really want to do right and be better, and they got everything coming up against them. That's the only thing I feel anything for, and I don't feel sorry. I feel empowered, motivated, relentless in my pursuit to become everything that God has created me to be, because He would not allow me to make it to 42 years old if it was over. And people who waste time coming up against other people for whatever earthly temporary reasons they choose to, if they would have took all that time and energy and invested into themselves, they would already had them earthly possessions, already been successful. People will come together and collab to go against other people, but won't come together and collab to start a business and work together and actually build something that's worth something that they can be proud of when they go to sleep and when they wake up. My phone is about to my phone is about to be extinct. I gotta go charge it. I didn't plan on being out here this long, bro. But blessings to everyone. Stay motivated, vibe high, beyond religion. It's about relationship, but the greatest relationship that you can have on this planet is with yourself. To have a great relationship with yourself is impossible without having a relationship with the one who created you and gave you life. If you are honest with yourself, you can look back at if you are honest with yourself, you can look back at moments in time where you know you should have been done. Things should have been over. You shouldn't have made it through that. Man, stop playing with life, because your life is the greatest gift that you have been given, despite what anyone says, despite how even you feel. If you still got breath in your body, that means you still have life in you. If you still have life, that means you have worth and you have value. Because death don't care if you're 2 years old and they don't care if you're 80 years old. Either way, it is what it is. So if you're still breathing, make it do what it do. Make it do what it do. To believe that you are going against other people or going against someone is the deception of what's within you that's actually going against you from keeping you from becoming who you truly are by deceiving you into believing that what you're doing is against somebody else when really it's just a reflection of what you're actually doing to yourself. Because like I say, in order to destroy someone, you have to already be defeated. In order to pull someone down, you have to already be at the bottom. It don't matter how on top it looks like you are in this realm. In order to pull someone down, you have to already be at the bottom. In order to destroy someone, you have to already be defeated. In order to project hate towards someone, you have to already feel like you ain't worthy of receiving love. You have to already feel those things. There are people that give themselves over to the embodiment of these things because they feel like they'll be more powerful. There are people that feel like fear is more powerful because of fear will have you doing things that you wouldn't normally do to try to escape that fear. When perfect love will cast out fear, and fear will not have you doing things. I mean, love, I'm sorry. Fear has you doing things that you wouldn't normally do, but love will have you becoming something that you never thought you could ever be. See the difference? Fear is based on do's and don'ts. Real love is based on what you are to become, to be or not to be. That's the question. That's Shakespeare. To be or not to be. It didn't say to do or not to do. God said, don't eat from that tree. God said, don't eat from the tree of good and evil. That's to do or not to do. God said, eat from the, think about it. God said, don't eat from the tree of good and evil, but he never said, don't eat from the tree of life. But when they ate from that tree of good and evil, he kicked them out of the garden unless they would eat from the tree of life and live forever in a constant state of up and down, back and forth, good and evil, good and evil. Every movie you see is good versus evil. It ain't about nothing about no good and evil. It's about life and death, and it's about surviving or thriving. It's about life or death, or thriving you either thriving or surviving. It's either life or it's death. It ain't got nothing to do with no good or evil. Because one person can say what's being done is good, and another person can say that's evil. Another person can say that's good. It's nah. Everybody's variations of good and evil is so distorted, we don't know what's what. So you can't eat from that tree. There's people that'll look at me and based on what I'm talking, that's evil. That ain't God, that's the devil. Then there's another person over here, man, that's a blessing. Man, that's the truth. How do I know which is which? Is it coming from a space of life? Is it coming from trying to survive? Or do I feel like I'm already thriving in the fullness of who I am becoming, who I have been destined to be? Fear will have you doing things or not doing things. But real love will have you becoming something that you never thought you could be. I didn't practice that. I ain't got that written down. That's my state of being. I don't operate on fear because fear will have you doing stuff like, man, I shouldn't be doing this, but fear have you just operating in ways that you never even thought you would have to operate in. I never thought I would become this person. I never thought I would do something like this, man. This ain't me, but my family gotta eat. I don't want to die. You make all these excuses of why you doing something you should. Well, what? Nah. But when it comes down to love, love will say, I can't do that. I won't do that. Or you know what? It's already done. Based on what love has caused me to become, say less. It's already done. But yeah, I really gotta go, man. But for those of you who came on, whether you like me or not, whether you know me or not, I'm sending blessings out to you all because I'll always say, even a wicked person, even a person who can be considered to be wicked, still has one person that loves them. Even a mob boss, check this out, even a mob boss who has done some foul things still has family and children that loves him. Everybody at least has one person, no matter how foul you may be. Check this out. No matter how foul you may be, there's at least one person that loves you. And check this out. No matter how good you think you are and righteous you think you are, and how much you try to love and help people, you always gonna have that one person that just don't even want you to be breathing. I appreciate that, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Too raw, TV uncut, man. Thank you for that. I don't even take that lightly because I remember when I first started this YouTube channel, and God told me to start it when I was homeless, sleeping in my car. Then I had to sell my car, and I was sleeping on the side of a abandoned building. And then after that, it got started to get so cold during the winter. I had to sleep inside a 5 by 8 story shit. And then once they found out I was sleeping in there, boom, it was Greyhound time. Headed to Atlanta. My life has been, and I documented it all. It's all documented on my YouTube. But when I first started, I always say everybody got to start with nothing, with zero, and it's one by one, brick by brick, step by step, breath by breath, that greatness is built. Because a wise man once told me, you may not reach 1 million people, but you may say the right thing that reaches that one person who was destined to reach 1 million people. It may not be for me meant for me to be on YouTube and to reach millions of people and have millions of subscribers. That may not be my path, but it may be my path while why I feel led to be on YouTube to where maybe I'm supposed to reach that one person who will be that one to reach the millions. You know, I just know for a fact, and it's based on my experience personally. I just know for a fact that there really is a genuine power out here that when I was in certain situations and I had nobody and I had no way out, and I was able to acknowledge, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this. But there was that other side, something in my heart that said, something has to happen. A way has to be made. And it always happened. Blessings to you, bro. There could be that one moment in time where God says, you know what, I need you to go outside on your YouTube and just speak from the heart because I'm gonna inspire somebody to come by your channel who got a major following, who's gonna feel what you're saying, and maybe he got a podcast and he wants to bring you on, or maybe he has, you don't know how God works, man. But I can tell you one thing: He works through people. He works through people, and that's why I always say I don't have time to put on a form of godliness. I don't have time to pretend or fake or front, but I'm also not going to allow anything to cause me that allows me to cause other people to stumble. Those who come on this channel who may not like me, that may have their hidden agendas, those are the ones that I want to open the eyes of their understanding. So I'm not coming on with no ego. I'm not coming on with no pride. I'm not coming on like, look at me, man. Because I feel like the greatest revenge that you can get on somebody who don't like you is to turn their heart into a heart of love and to get them to see what's really going on, man. And for that same person that was an enemy to be able to say, man, you never was my enemy, man. Forgive me. And then I can say in turn, you know what? You don't need to ask for my forgiveness because I never held anything against you. Because the God that I serve, when I was his enemy and I was doing everything against myself and I was running in rebellion, that didn't stop him from loving me. He didn't give up on me. So the more you hate me, the more you're gonna see me shine. Because you know why I'm shining? Because it's the love in me. Like I said in one of my raps, I was shining before I copped the bling. Like Smeagol, I had to get the precious. Now I'm the Lord of the Rings. This is the death of who you thought I was, the one that fought through. Oh boy, y'all ain't ready for the king that's lit. Like Hammer in his prime, I'm too legit to quit. Like Curry with 3 seconds left, I just can't miss. Watch out for chicks with thick hips with the poisonous kiss. Deception steadily caressing my inner self, but perceptions of a soul resurrected got me seeing clearly. I'm on the outside looking in, analyzing myself as I transform my life through the ink of the pen. It comes to an end. It's the death of the flesh. God and man reconnect. Now I'm reborn and I'm catching my breath. I'm counting my steps. I calculate every move like a game of chess. I got to get it right the first time because there's no wrongs left. Climbing the state's empire, sit on the throne. Boy, you know I'm a king. You could tell by how I beat on my chest. I'm a number one draft pick, fresh off the block, a self-made millionaire, and I won't settle for less. Blessed. On God. If you can take someone who hates you and transform them, their hearts, and get them to love themselves, that's how you defeat your enemy. That's how you defeat your enemy. If you can get a person who thinks they're your enemy, they're your competition, if you can get them to love themselves to the point to where they ain't even got no room to hate you no more, that's how you get the victory. And sometimes it's not easy because you have to love people through their hatred. Somebody did it for me, 'cause I would not have made it this far. Because it's a natural thing for the way we feel about ourselves and project it on other people. I said these demons is hot and bothered because your boy is eating. When I was putting in work, these lazy cats were just sleeping. When their minds were stuck on goofy, I stay consciously thinking. A necessary means to magnify my dreams, a blueprint to convert my destiny, manifest it into reality. I was shining before I copped the bling. They said I wouldn't make it. They called this a pipe dream. The same ones who said it, they trying to be on the team. See, I stay persistent, didn't give up on my vision. I told them I was gonna make it, but these doubters didn't listen. See, I'm in the studio, my ninja on a mission, leaving every whack rapper meal card missing. This ain't a subliminal message. This is direct dissing. No one listens to the lyrics. It's just a beat that they feeling okay. I crucified the track, come back 3 days, resurrected with the truth that I'm spitting. I'm a traveler from a different galaxy to let the people love the earth know that there's been a tragedy. See, I came down on my spaceship, abducted hip hop to study its behavior. And from the test that I took, I've come to the conclusion that hip hop is in need of a savior. Now, if we take our time and dissect every rhyme, we see most of these rappers spitting a lot of nonsense. Repetition is the key that controls your mind, making you think that bullshit is the number one hit. It's catastrophic, apocalyptic, atomically incredible. Systematically driven collisions is unforgettable. I'm dissecting your inner galactic. My facts are unchangeable. Let me stimulate your mind while I fiddle with your soul. You a brainy addict, food for thought fanatic. but literally living lavishly, loving life. And I don't understand it for granted. It's taking earthquake and neck snapping, backs breaking, sugar coated, corn flaking, but everybody grooving. Hey, you can be a millionaire. Watch the people stop and stare into the outer space of nothingness because bliss is ignorance. It's not acceptable except if it's irrelevant to the equation. Frustrated and I don't have to take it. They faking the funk, fun time, silly monkey punch lines, found the truth, lost rhymes, 12 o'clock lunchtime is ticking away. They took hip hop hostage and replaced it with nonsense, but the truth is in the state. Hey, it's my therapy. It's my therapy, man. That's real, bro. Hug yourself and love yourself. This is why your arms are able to do that. And you know what's crazy? When you actually genuinely love yourself, a part of loving yourself, the expression of that is wrapping your arms around yourself. And when you wrap your arms around yourself, it actually opens up your back, because you're doing that. And when you breathe in, you'll release all the tension that's in the spine. One thing about me, I study psychology and I study the human body. I've been very fascinated by the human body because I love to create, but I'm more fascinated by creators. So I'm always looking at other people's creations, and I'm seeing the greatest creation is the one who created this physical body. It's a very intelligent, divine being. So when you actually take the time to hug yourself, if you ever go to the chiropractors, what do they tell you to do? They'll tell you to wrap your arms around yourself and then they'll pick you up and crack your back. So if you really genuinely love yourself, wrap your arms around yourself, breathe in a few times, deep breaths, and you'll feel your spine and your the back open up, which then opens up the chest cavity, and then you'll be able to breathe more, taking more oxygen. Because the more you love yourself, the deeper your breaths are. So imagine when you're on an airplane, what's the first thing they do? They give you an oxygen mask because it calms you down. Now imagine if you just consciously keep yourself calm and in a calm state of being, no matter what comes at you, you'll automatically be triggered to put on your oxygen mask and be calm. Trigger me to be like this. You trigger me. So what were you saying again? Huh? Okay, for sure. I respect that. That's you though. Still love you. But you know why? You got a heartbeat, you got lungs, you got kidneys, liver, intestines, a brain, a cerebral cortex, medulla oblongata. You got cells, atoms, DNA. But I apologize for that. I should have came back upstairs and charged it up. So I should have came back on and charged up my phone so it didn't cut off. But that fresh air and being under that tree, man, it just felt right. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and properly close out to Raw TV Uncut too. Hey man, I'm definitely down to connect. I'm about networking. That's one of the reasons why I felt I had to come back on too, man, because it's not too often you able to come on your live and genuine people come on and seeing positivity and want to connect, so that's a blessing. So I'm definitely gonna connect with Two Raw TV Uncut too. I'm definitely gonna let's definitely link up. I'm One of the things about me, man, I'm big on networking and connecting with people. This is why I don't close my heart off. I had to cover up my hair. I don't like putting my hair on pillows and then I gotta sleep on the pillow and then so I cover up my hair so my anything that's on my hair won't get on my pillow, because whatever's on my hair it'll get on my pillow, then it goes from my pillow, then it'll get on my face, and ain't nobody got time for that. But I definitely wanted to come on and just thank everybody. Like I always say, man, it's not about you liking me or not. Everybody tunes in for a reason and for a purpose that I don't take lightly. And right now in this season of my life, because I didn't close my heart off. I didn't allow what was coming against me to cause my heart to go cold. And because I have a genuine love and appreciation for people, I knew that if I just stayed true to myself, no matter how many people weren't true to me, if I stayed true, eventually God would connect me to the right people. Because in order to stay true to self, there's going to be times where you're going to connect with people who aren't being true to you. And instead of judging them for how they operate with you, you need to check yourself and ask yourself, how are you attracting these type of people? So from a genuine space, hey, that's real, man. Yeah, we definitely connect, bro. He said every person that came to my channel trolling, I turned them into friends. See, that's the ultimate. That's what it's about. I honestly believe that this is why God gave me the ability, gave me the strength, gave me the power to press through everything I've been through, especially what has come against me. Because at some point in time, man, even if it's one person, people will wake up. If you just stay the course, no matter what comes against you, no matter who's against you, no matter what's against you, if you just stay authentic with yourself, eventually things will change. And when you embrace yourself, that's why it's easy for me to show genuine love to people, even those who feel like they don't like me, is because there was a point in time where I didn't like me. There was a point in time where I was against myself. There was a point in time where I wasn't the best version of myself, so I couldn't give people the best of me. So there were people who were getting the worst of me. So I feel to turn the enemy into a friend is the greatest way to conquer. Or to cause a person who believes themselves to be an enemy at some point in time to go inward and look at themselves and make the necessary adjustments is truly a blessing. Because you know, when it comes to the reality of God, a lot of people will never experience God from a personal space until they're able to experience God through a tangible space, something that's tangible. So I needed to take some time for real to just get myself back in a real way. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Don't lose yourself in people, places, or things. Find more of who you are through people, places, and things. And when you have the capacity to show love, despite whatever may be coming against you, that's only the reality of God. When you can show genuine love despite whatever you may be facing, whatever's coming against you, and whoever don't like you, only God's love and His power can do that. But I'm grateful. Attitude of gratitude. Understanding the love of God and its magnitude. Constantly checking my attitude. I realize at some point in my life, I really hated myself. I was never mad at you. But I can genuinely say by self-love that I love you. Because I can see you for who you really are. Blessed to be a blessing. Just stay motivated, stay well rested. Learn from life lessons. Because it's always testing to see if you truly believe in what you're confessing. To know God through love, experience through pain and hate is the true blessing. Take time to breathe and stay calm, no stressing. Life is a beautiful thing. The world can be crazy, but life is a beautiful thing. It's been quite some time since I took time to just express what's on my heart and in my heart. The true value. Is being consciously aware that you're here, so you might as well live. You're already here. You might as well live. In a genuine way. But you got to do that inner work. You got to face what we all have is that other side. Once you understand that other side and why it is that other side and why it feels the pain and the hurt and the anger and the rage and the jealousy and the envy, once you understand, then you'll be able to trace everything back to its root cause and uproot it and then plant new seeds of life and love. Just be real. I sit and have conversations like this even when I'm not on YouTube. I just sit and we just talk like this. Sometimes the world will try to keep you so distracted and caught up and busy that you really don't have time to fellowship with yourself, which is fellowshipping with God. Being honest with yourself. Oh boy, this is what I'm getting ready to do though. Tear into these oysters. I love oysters. The only thing I'm mad at is I ain't got no hot sauce. Actually, I do. I went to Chipotle the other day and I got some salsa and it's pretty hot. So it's got 20 grams of protein in it. 20 grams. Protein. Look at that. So that's 40 grams of protein and 2 little can of oysters. I'm about to tear them oysters up, bro. And I got a little hot sauce for them. You want to squirt a little lemon in it with some hot sauce. That's how you got to eat your oysters. But yeah, y'all just stay girded up, stay focused, man. Just know the real victory, the real war is inside. Everything starts within. Take time to love yourself again. Reintroduce yourself to you. Sometimes we get so far away from what we used to be that we forget. And it's like, this ain't really me. Why I'm thinking like this? Why I'm acting like this? And you know what's crazy? You know how I was able to overcome a lot of things in my life? Because I traced all the way back to how it started. And more importantly, who it started with. And you just go through that process. But check this out. Y'all stay up. Oh, you could turn it to the side? Oh, no, you can't. Y'all stay up. I'm about to rest for a little bit. Then I got to get to work. But I'm going to tap in with y'all. And I pray that I'm inspired by God to be able to come on live and really give y'all something that's worth something and not just be talking. It's a beautiful thing being able to connect. So blessings to y'all. Stay focused. Stay motivated. Cardi? Who's that? I mean, I know that's a rapper, Cardi. Is it Playboy Cardi? That's why I say, isn't there more to his name? You know what? I've heard a few of his songs, but I haven't really tapped in. Like, I kind of feel like in order to really get to know an artist, you have to really, you can't just hear the popular songs, but you gotta listen to the albums and really know an artist. Because I used to DJ. So in DJing, you know, you always gonna hear the popular music from the artist, but you actually got to listen to the album and really know the artist and really. So I haven't had a chance to really dive into who the artist is. I've heard some of his music, but who he is as an artist, that's something that if you're taking the time to recommend, you know, I'll definitely take the time to check it out and see what's up. Yeah, you know, like I said, some of these artists, and it's crazy because being a DJ like that, you know, music to me is a very powerful, you know, way of connecting with people. So when people recommend artists, I never judge artists based off their commercial stuff. They tend to put a lot of their pain in real life into their actual albums, you know. That's where it goes a lot deeper. So that's where I like to explore the artists from outside of the commercial stuff they put out. So even though the commercial stuff they put out has got to be a banger, it's got to be a hit, you know. So it's like, oh, I heard some of their stuff and it's dope, but I know that that's not like a true reflection of who they are as an artist. Some of these artists, man, they be crying out based on what they're going through being in the industry, and a lot of the things that they deal with are dealt with growing up and the pain, you know. Those are the songs. That's why I don't look at any artist. I can't look at any artist like, oh, that's the devil's music, or oh man, nah, you listening to the commercial stuff, the industry stuff. When you listen to an artist mixtape,
Or you listen to the artists who, you know, when they have side projects that ain't got nothing to do with the industry, to where they have more freedom to just speak their truth and what's in their heart. That's when you really get to know where artists is coming from. It's like, oh, okay, you know, because people forget the music business is still a business. So a lot of these artists can't fully just be who they really are, say what they want to say. This is a job. People forget that. It may be something you like, but for them, it's their job. It's not a hobby. It's not just a passion. Once you sign on that dotted line, you know, that's your job. You got to do what your boss tell you to do. That's what they paying you for. You know, so and sometimes people forget that reality when it comes to the music industry. So a lot of times we judge a lot of artists. We judge these artists. Oh, look at them. You know, they in the Illuminati. They doing witchcraft. They doing all this. They doing all that. We judge. We spend so much time judging that we don't. If you're paying attention to something, why waste time judging it? Why not actually just say, you know what? I'm gonna take some time to actually research, and you'll actually really see, like, oh man, this person got to do their job. They putting out this music and putting out that music, and it's like, man, they don't want to get fired. They got bills to pay too. You know what I'm saying? So we got to show a lot more mercy and grace, but at the same time, be consciously aware and mindful of what we gravitate to and what we invest our attention into, and how and the effects that it has on us. I'm from a different era that I ain't got no shame in. Being an 80s baby, I was very fortunate to be able to experience when these artists were like alive and everything was fresh, you know. So when you hear the Tupacs, the DMXs, Onyx, you know, Naughty by Nature, you dealing with Biggie and Method Man and Redman and LL and NWA, Public Enemy, MC Light, Queen Latifah. Shoot, I even got to experience Big Daddy Kane, you know, and Houdini and Nas, and when Jay-Z was still fresh, and when Lil Wayne was young. You know what I'm saying? And a whole lot of other artists that came, and then crossing over into the 2000s, and you get into the 50 Cents, you know, Mims. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. You get into, man, Black Rob, like, whoa. And you get into Juvenile, huh? And you get into Pastor Troy and Scarface. Oh man, you know, like, music was different. It was different. And then R&B and soul, man, music and movies is what I grew up on. That was what I connected to. That's what I had. And then once I really got into hip hop culture and got into breakdancing and b-boying, that really expanded. Herbie Hancock, you know, who else? Of course, James Brown, and opened me up to a lot more like jazz and classical. And I got into DJing, and not just mixing music, but like scratching and mixing and beat juggling. So DJ Qbert and the Executioners, and you know, the Jackson Sisters. It just music for me was a different vibe that I gravitated to, especially when I started getting into dancing, because it was a different relationship with the music. If you only experience music from just like nodding your head versus investing your whole body into it, and back in the day, you couldn't just listen to the music. It was like you was one with it, and it didn't take alcohol. It didn't take drugs. to really get into it because it was so passionate, even the raw stuff, you know. And then I'm coming from the Bay, so we got E40, we got Too Short, you know what I'm saying? We got MC Hammer, he dancing, getting the party started, and we got Mac Mall, we got the Federation, and we got it was just a lot, bro, a lot of music. Sometimes I don't know if these I don't take nothing lightly because there are people out here that really deal with that. So I just pray that that's not something you playing games with. Like, oh, I'm just gonna message. I like cutting myself. You know, I just pray that that's not like trolling and doing extra because there are people out there. There are young women out there who have been molested and abused and, you know, and the hurt and pain of not having the protection of a father. So if you're really serious about that, and I mean this with all of my heart, that's why I don't play with it. Because before in the past, I would have been like, oh, you trolling. But I have to take it serious because I don't know you. I'm just seeing a comment, a comment. So when somebody says I listen to music while cutting myself, does cutting myself make me a good person? Cutting yourself doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. It's the reality that you're dealing with something that's going on within that's unhealed, and you're dealing with a lot of pain from a spiritual and soulful level. And mentally, the only way you know how to deal with that pain, that's an inner pain, is to do something physically. But the reality is that there are many different ways that you can transmute that energy and deal with your pain outside of you feeling like you have to inflict pain upon yourself. But it doesn't make you a good person. It doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who has dealt with a form of pain and hurt, and you deserve to be a person who can be loved, who is worthy to receive love, unconditional love, and the support that you need and deserve, not based on you cutting yourself or not, but just based on the fact that you're breathing and you're alive and you're here and you have a purpose. So you're not being judged from the standpoint of good and evil based on you cutting yourself. If I were to see a person cutting themselves, I just don't judge. I just analyze and assess. So because I can't look you in your eyes, I'm not there energetically with you. Sometimes people just, in all reality, man, sometimes people just need a genuine hug, but they need that hug to be consistent. They need to know that there's somebody there who loves them unconditionally and is not going to judge them. That's going to love them through that process. And that's not going to try to tell you what you're doing is wrong, but they're going to meet you where you're at and love you right where you're at. And once enough love is poured into you, then you'll be able to generate that own self-love, and you won't have a desire to cut yourself anymore. Because the inner pain that's a reflection of that outer pain will be healed. And then you'll realize that you are loved and deserving of love. Now you have a desire to love and to give love, and you wouldn't want to do anything towards anyone or anything that you love that would be a reflection of self-hatred or self-pain, you know? Because there are people out there who deal with things at such a traumatic level, and they don't have, or they don't feel like they have anyone to talk to or go to. And you cutting yourself can never compare to whatever you went through that led you to feel like this is something that you have to do. So my thing is, I'm going to dig deep, and it's going to be through love of what's the source of this pain. What have you gone through growing up as a child? How was your experiences with your parents? Were there things done to you as a child that you never spoke about that's still, you know, affecting you to this day? And it's never out of judgment. It's just to get to the root cause so you can know where the love needs to be poured into. Because the more time you spend loving yourself and being loved and doing things that you love, the less time you have. Because a lot of times we enter into a space of doing certain things against ourselves when we're isolated and alone, you know? Because you may be able to cut yourself and put on a sweater and cover it up. But anyone who has a heart and eyes that never see through judgment, but through the eyes of love, they can see the pain in your eyes and on your face. Because pain can't hide from love. Darkness can't hide from the light. Darkness is just the absence of light, but light is just what it is. Yeah, if like I said, that's a pretty hold on. That's something that I don't take lightly if you're saying what you're dealing with and you're willing to put it out there like that. But this is for anyone, because like I said, a lot of people come on and they'll say things that may not be true. But even to the extent, I know that there are people out there who have dealt with certain things of being molested, and they don't have anyone to talk to. And those who tend to be molested by someone who's close to them, family members. It tends to be someone that's a part of the family or very close to the family. So it's never just some random stranger. And that's what affects us the most, because it's the ones that are supposed to protect us that tend to leave us unguarded. And it's a very sensitive matter that I don't take lightly, because I spoke about earlier that women and children, even men, young boys, are the true victims, because they don't have protection. They didn't have anyone to protect them. And the one thing that I can say is first and foremost, anything that was done to you or against you, especially when you were in a space of being vulnerable and not being able to protect yourself, you have to first forgive yourself, not based on what was done to you, but forgive yourself for believing that it was your fault, or forgive yourself for the things that you have done against yourself because of what someone else did against you, so that you can begin the process of healing yourself and ultimately forgiving those who have done things against you. For real. A lot of times we can't forgive others until we forgive ourselves. Because then we have to look at, through the things that we have gone through, especially at a young age that we had no control over, we didn't have any protection. It's not our fault. As we get older, we tend to take those things out on other people and project it onto others. So based on our hurt, we look at how many people we have hurt along the way, and we know that that's not our true heart or our true intentions, but it's what we're going through and dealing with inside. And when we can look at all the people that we've hurt based on our hurt, and we can forgive ourselves and put it in God's hands and pray that we could be forgiven for what we've done. As hard as it is, because it's not easy, it's a process, but you take it step by step and day by day. You love yourself a little bit more every day and do things, because if it's easy for us to do things to destroy ourselves, but we have to get to a point to where it becomes just as easy for us to do the things that reflect the love that we have for ourselves, and not allow the pain that was afflicted upon you to continue to allow itself to live in you. And now you're causing the pain that was caused to you. Now it's being caused through you against you. Genuinely being able to forgive a person And it's not easy, but it's a powerful thing. Genuinely being able to forgive a person. And as you go through your healing process, you'll realize that you're not alone and how many people have dealt with certain things. And now you can speak into the lives of others and assist them in how you were able to get through by being a blessing to them, because you're not alone. You're not alone. And a lot of times these events that happens against us makes us feel like we're alone, because when it happened, we were alone. It was just us and something coming up against us. So now as we get older, now we're still alone in an isolated state and doing things against ourselves because we felt alone then and we still feel alone now, but you're not alone. You're not alone. And like I said, it's easier said than it is done. So I say this in a very genuine manner, that you're still young and you have your whole life ahead of you. And the sooner you are able to receive your healing and your breakthrough, the more deeper that pain, when it's converted and healed, the greater you'll be able to experience life, understand life, and love people in a way that should be impossible based on what you've been through. But because you were able to overcome it, you'll have a deeper capacity of love and compassion. And that's when God comes in a way that you could never expect, because it's real. It's real. That's when God shows himself in a way that will love you beyond the physical experiences of this life. For real. Haley, blessings to you. It's step by step to be released from the shame, from the guilt, from the pain, to be released from just the energy alone. But there are survivors out there who made it through these processes of being abused and hurt in ways that we were never created to experience. But this life is temporary, and so is that pain and that hurt. So don't allow it to control your life and rule your life. You can take back your life and go through that process and step by step of loving yourself, and place yourself in a position by the grace and power of God to protect those who don't have to go through the things that we went through. To be an advocate. Because there's some that go through so much that they don't even hurt themselves or abuse themselves. They just take themselves out. And there are those who are still stuck in the same situations that we may deal with emotionally and psychologically, but they're still dealing with it physically. There are children right now dealing with it. Right now, as we sit here on YouTube Live, there are children still dealing with being abused and hurt and neglected and treated in ways that no child, because it's a child, they don't know no better. It's a child. But there's power. There's power in forgiveness. There's power in forgiving oneself, self-love, speaking life over yourself, connecting with those who understand you and love you and appreciate you and will meet you right where you're at with no judgments. Those who will love you through the process without giving up on you, no matter how challenging it gets. Because we already see the finished product. I never gave up on myself. And though I went through a whole lot growing up, I had a desire to live life. And I wanted to live it to the fullest. And I knew that I would not be able to live my life to the fullest if I was holding on to resentment, anger, hatred, bitterness, judgments. That's by the grace of God to give me a level of consciousness to focus more on my wrongs and how I can correct myself than to focus on the wrongs that may have been committed against me. I'm not accountable for anyone's actions committed against me. I am accountable for how I respond, how I react, and how I take action. And unfortunately, we live in a world where people do things that's not right. But that doesn't mean that we will allow that to paralyze us and keep us from truly living life, because we're already here. So we might as well live. We already here. So I'm gonna keep you in prayer, and I'm gonna continue to pray for all of us. Pray for the abused and pray for the abuser, because every abuser was once a child themselves. And no telling what happened to the abuser who was once a child, who expresses their hurt and pain and trauma by abusing someone else. At some point in time, that cycle has to stop. You know? You know what's crazy? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on the YouTube manual and see what are the rules and regulations from where I stream from. Why are you watching me from your phone or your laptop? Watching me stream from my bed. When I was just streaming outside under the tree, phone died, cut off, and I decided to say, you know what? I was gonna get ready to just rest and take a nap. But my live cut off, and I didn't want to just keep people, just have it cut off and not properly. So I think that people become silly. Drink you a VA energy. So I may be in your algorithm for some reason, but take time to process the fact that I'm in your algorithm for a reason that's beyond the questions you asking. Are you sick? Why are you streaming from your bed? Man, I can stream from the ceiling if I was Spider-Man. If I was King Kong, I'd stream from the top of the Empire State Building. If I was a shark, I'd stream from the ocean. If I was a fly, I'd be in your room on the wall streaming. But I bet you if I was a female, ooh, girl, hey. Man, why are you streaming from? You sick? Come on, man. Hey, blessings to you, bro. Sometimes I gotta just clown away the nonsense so it don't affect the energy, bro. Because sometimes things don't make sense. Your algorithm is broke, and apparently something within your mental space is broke, because you have the option to not click on or click off. So if me streaming from the bed is a problem, hey, the blessings of choices. Click off. Blessings to you. No love lost. It's all good. This guy said, let me see your hands. Well, one hand is here and the other one is holding the phone. You got to be somebody who's silly to just trolling, who probably know who I am, clicked on and was like, man, let me go in and troll real quick. Let me go troll. I don't even know you. and you just got words on the screen. You ain't even got a presence. It's not a presence. It's you doing what you do. Do what you do, man. Send out all the love. Send out all your. I'm always smiling, but thank you. Even the Joker smiles. Even the Joker smiles. It ain't always happy, happy, joy, joy, happy. Sometimes it's like, oh, I pray that you stay balanced because the spirit realm, this energy in the atmosphere and in the world right now is very sensitive. Just be cool. Be on good vibes. Happies and smiles. Happies and smiles. That's all it is. It's all love. I don't know where you from. I don't know your mindset. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what you do for a living. I don't know your job. I don't know if you're a male or a female. If you got a girlfriend, boy, I don't know nothing about you. So it's all love. It's all love. It's all love. Hey, God bless you too, bro. I appreciate that. It's all love. That's why I say you never know who will pop up, who will be in your algorithm. People, man, but it's always love, bro. It's always love. The reason why I was laughing because you said, "Let me see both your hands." It's like, hold on, let me show you the other one. It was holding the phone. This one right there. So, oh man, I can only see me on the phone, so it's not like, oh girl, oh look at these words. Ooh, look how sexy these words are. Dang. Ooh. Nah, bro, it's all love though. That's another thing too. We can't be so sensitive emotionally that cause shoot, the greatest friends can start off as the greatest, you know, just testing the waters. Like, let me see what's up. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say genuinely, it's always love. Hey, that's true too. That's true too. Now you made me laugh. Hey, I don't know what stream this got me on, bro. Shoot, man, you could be oiling up your balls. Nah, bro. It's about love and peace and joy and light and laughter, man. And the reason why I'm just chilling in bed is because I've been up early. Hey, check this out. So I do graphics, marketing, and design. So right now I'm in town for some business. This is some of the clothing line stuff that I have. These are all of my designs that I've worked on, and then I'm working with this vest right here from a company because a lot of times we come on and I just be talking because it's really not about what I do, but sometimes to know what a person does is to give you a better understanding of who they are. So I'm working with this company right now and doing marketing for them. And they have this vest for basketball players. Now, political, it's easy to come up with some political stuff, but I think people have had their fair share of whatever's going on politically. There's my little workstation. That's my little dude right there. That's my little man, keep me motivated. Got my little workstation set up. So, yeah. But yeah, you know what? It actually has the feel of a wetsuit with surfers and scuba divers are wearing. But yeah, we're getting ready to do some marketing for that, which I'm excited about. But yeah, so that's why I just came to kick back because I was already up. Political shirts, man. This campaign has been a little different. Got Elon Musk, got Hulk Hogan, got Cardi B on one side, Megan Thee Stallion. It's just a lot going on with this political. It just it's this back in the day it was a little different. It's different now. It's different. Oh yeah, brother. And let me tell you something. That man, I'm like Hulk Hogan was, man, I remember watching Hulk Hogan growing up. When that hand start pumping, oh, you know it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So it was crazy to see Hulk Hogan up there. And then to hear Cardi B giving her speech for Harrison, I'm just like, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in politics right now. I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't necessarily travel a lot, but the path and journey I'm on, it has me where I need to be at any given season. And because I have a certain flow when it comes to life, I know where I need to be when I'm supposed to be there. So I do graphic design and marketing. So, and technically I work from home. So I'm able to do my work from anywhere. I got a meeting with an individual in India at 6 o'clock. So on Discord. So I'm been very blessed based on my line of work and what I do to be able to do it from anywhere. And everything is a journey and a process. This is what helps me to understand the psychology of people in the marketplace and the differences of the different areas I've been in. Like when you go from California, Chicago, Texas, Florida, Georgia, New Jersey, you see the similarities, how people are all the same, and then you see the differences of what makes people unique. You know, so do I believe we landed on the moon? Let me say it like this. Any anything that's outside of my experience, like we all go through our experience in life, because I wasn't in the ship. I wasn't in a spacesuit on the moon jumping around. I can only look at it in two ways. Either it really happened, or it was just a Hollywood production presented as something to be real. Then I have to look at, well, how does that personally affect my personal life when it comes to me taking care of my health, paying my bills, the people that I love, the things that I battle through on a day-to-day basis. This is realistic. I'm not even discounting it or discrediting. I'm just saying, if a person did land on the moon, or they pretended like they landed on the moon, what's the agenda and the purpose and why they would either land on the moon or pretend? And then how does it affect my life and my day-to-day journey of what I go through? So do I believe? I don't feel that I've put enough conscious effort to either believe or not believe. You know? Like if you see somebody jumping around, this is a real truth. If you record footage of a person on planet Earth, you're not like seeing all of the outer space. You're not seeing like the roundness. You just seeing like, for some reason, it seems like when people go on the moon, it's like you can see outer space. Here on Earth, you kind of have to look up to see outer space, even though Earth is still supposed to be in outer space and it's supposed to be round. If I go outside right now, I can't see the edge of Earth. It seems like every time they go on the moon, it feels like you could see like you could see the end of the moon, and it's all space, all the rest is all this space. And I'm just like, how come it's not like that on Earth? If if we're close enough to get to the moon, these are questions. This is not to discredit it. If we're close enough to go from Earth to the moon, that means that the moon can't be that far. Because we can get to the moon and get back. It must not be that far. Therefore, based on all the pictures I've seen, if the earth is round and the moon is round, how come all the experiences that are being shown from being on the moon, there's always like this edge? Like it's never just this long, even if there were buildings, like it just feels like it feels like they're making sure you know this is round. And then it's like the moon is it's in space. It's not like there's a sky. And I'm thinking, like, doesn't the moon and the sun kind of revolve around each other? Doesn't the planet, it doesn't Earth and the moon and the sun revolve around each other? So I just kind of feel like the way that the moon has been presented based on somebody floating on it in a suit, it doesn't have the same look and feel as a person who just goes outside and they just standing outside. Even if you go out to the country or go out to all desert, if you go out to Arizona or Las Vegas where there's just all desert, no trees, no buildings, it's just like it's like long. There is no like, if it's all dark, say if it's nighttime, it don't feel like I can walk to the end, the edge of earth. It's like it's flat. And even though it's dark, there's still like a visible separation from the earth to like the stars, whatever those lights in the sky we call stars. It seems like on the moon, you just out there in the stars. You just out there in the in the universe, in space. I don't know, it's weird. So yeah. Man, you can't be serious about these questions, bro. What you need to be focused on is the value of the dollar. And if you're going to convert it into Bitcoin or keep trusting in the dollar, that's losing value, which is causing inflation because technology has caused it to where people are able to make money in large amounts through tech. And the workforce is less, which is bringing in artificial intelligence, which is why Elon Musk is investing so much money into the tech side and investing in Donald Trump because they're looking at the future of America when it comes to the workforce. A lot of CEOs and major companies are stepping down and taking their money out, taking their stocks out and investing it in Bitcoin. Most don't have enough money like that to invest in gold and silver and lithium and all that stuff. So outside of the moon and its temperature and how is it real or not like that, man, look in your bank account and see how much you can start investing in Bitcoin. That's just real, bro. The moon is connected to water, to the energetic fields of our physical bodies, which is made out of water. The moon is more tapped into the feminine nature, the feminine energy, which means it deals with emotions, ocean, emotions, ocean, emotion. The moon deals with water. It deals with the tides. It is very energetic. And even when the moon is full and you can see it from the sun reflected on it in its fullness, right behind the moon is complete and total darkness. So you got a yin and a yang. So when you understand the purpose of the moon based on its actual purpose and function and how it corresponds with the human body and not based on like temperature and based on, is it real, is the moon landing real? You know what's crazy? We don't necessarily have to go to the moon because the moon comes to us based on us being connected to it in a very spiritual and energetic way. Man, how old are you, bro? It's probably talking to a high school YouTuber making more money than me, man. But I don't want to discredit anything you're saying or downplaying it like it's not important because it could be very important to you. Everything that has to do with the moon could be very important to you. You may genuinely want to know, do you think it's real? Boom, because you may have conversations with your homies and your friends and you feel some type of way. What do you think about the moon? Is it real? But I can tell you right now, the moon what we call the moon, and we focus more if people landed on it or not. But the main focus should be energetically how what we call the moon, that's just a name, we really don't know what it is based on naming it. We just name stuff and we think because we know the name of it, we know what it is. But one thing that I do know is that it does have an effect, just like the sun. If you stand in the sun hits the body, and it's actually the gamma rays penetrating the atmosphere of what we call Earth when it's actually Gaia, what we call Earth. So it feels like it's hot, but it's really not hot. And even though the sun illuminates this planet that we're on, that is called Earth, it's not necessarily bringing light to this planet because it's not really a light source. It's just the fact that it reflects off of the ocean, and the ocean being like a mirror or like glass reflects the light of the sun is so powerful that it beaming off of the ocean reflects a light back that illuminates the sky. So if I stand in the presence of the sun, it has an effect on my physical body. It's the same thing with the moon. If you stand in the presence of the moon, it has a different effect on the body, but it's more of an energetic, spiritual feel. So like you feel the heat of the sun, that is only heat because of how it comes through the atmosphere of what we call Earth and then reflects off the ocean water, has an effect on us. Just like if you put water in a pot and you heat it up, it turns into steam. Well, if we were drinking enough water and we were properly alkalized and hydrated the way we were supposed to be, then that physical sun, which feels like it's hot, would take the liquids that's inside of us and turn it into steam, which would loosen up the muscles in the body and kind of change the genetic code, which it's supposed to do. So if your body is more acidic and you're drinking sodas and high fructose corn syrup, this is why summertime be crazy for a lot of people, because their body is not trained to be in the sun like that. So imagine if you plant a seed in the soil, that seed that you plant in the soil, which farmers know has to get sunlight. Sunlight contributes to that seed inside of that soil being able to grow to produce fruits and vegetables. That lets you know what that light in the sky that we call sun and what it's capable of doing. Well, the moon, what we call the moon, has an effect on our emotional state, the seeds that we plant within our emotional state and the effect that that energy has on us. That becomes the greater value. See, we know it's like the who. You know a person's name, which gives us the perception of believing we know who they are, but do you know what they are? And what they are is what they're made of. When I look at people, I don't judge them based on just the who they are, but the state of being of a person, the what they are. So a lot of times we judge based on the outside, but you have no idea how a person's functioning on the inside of themselves, how their organs are functioning, hormone levels, testosterone levels, dopamine levels, how many, electro, the frequencies and energies within the brain and how they're able to process consciously. We just judge so much on the outside to where a very intelligent person can pretend like they're dumb. And a person who's not too bright can still pull off the expression and presentation like they know something when they don't. So it's the inner working, the true nature of a man. Hey, but yo, man, I really only came back on because my phone cut off when it died. Battery died and it cut off, and I just didn't want to leave people hanging, man. So I'm gonna get back to look at that. Pharaoh rise, let my people go. I got the little head thing on. Oh man, hey, y'all stay blessed. Hey, sometimes you just gotta get you some Febreze, get you some Febreze, right? And when people be trolling and trying to make you, and look at this, is the calm edition. It's calm. Lavender, vanilla bean. What you do? What you say? You don't want no problems because you don't even know me like. It's all good, bro. I forgive you. And whatever I did to spark that anger in you, forgive me, brother. I got some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, a little bit left in the box. You can have the rest. Blessings. See? I'm telling y'all how to diffuse things. Get you some of this right here and carry it with you. And somebody acting up, right? Huh? You mad? You don't like me? And you just spray that on them. And then their whole mood will change. Huh? You want to buy me some Chick-fil-A? I can get some mac and cheese with it. Oh, God. Blessings. You know what? This time it's on me. Next time I got you. It works. I'm telling you. Get that Febreze. it'll do the trick. Hey, but y'all, I'm going to let y'all go, man. Hey, y'all stay blessed, stay prayed up, stay focused, stay motivated, stay encouraged, 10 toes down, high vibrations. This is the Don Rodriguez experience. Thank you for tuning in. I said it was going to be an experience. I didn't tell you what type of experience. But ultimately, the greatest experience is the experience of love and being able to share that love, share laughter, peace and joy, despite whatever we may believe and whoever we think we are. That should never hinder us, block us, or stop us from showing love and respect, not only towards one another, but for ourselves, and sharing that with one another, because it's that serious. We're in a time right now. We don't know. We're about to see who's going to be the next president. We're going into 2025, holiday season, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes. It's a lot of things taking place. So do the inner work. If nobody ever hasn't told you in quite some time, you're breathing, you hear, you are loved, you are appreciated. Take time to rest, meditate, clear your mind. Sometimes you have to quiet the mind and listen to the voice within and and just kind of put pause on all these other voices. Do something different today or tomorrow that shows love for yourself. Do something different. Do something new. You know what? I haven't taken a walk in a minute. I'm going to wake up and go take a walk and just breathe some fresh air. Take some time to just relax and think about nothing. Whatever has been bothering you, whatever you feel, maybe you need to call somebody and say, hey, man, I want to squash that. Forgive me. Tell somebody you love them and you appreciate them. And tell them why you do. Remember something that somebody did for you that you appreciate. Be grateful. No matter how challenging or bad it is, it could be a lot worse. But don't forget, it can also be a lot better. So keep a balance. It could be worse, but it also could be better. So let me be grateful and thankful, but let me stay focused and vigilant, because things can always be better. We can be better. My better tomorrow starts today, because tomorrow gonna come, but there will come a day where that day will be the last day and there will be no tomorrow. So my yesterday will make sure that my today is my best. And my today is making sure that my tomorrow is the best. So when I wake up tomorrow, it's already ready to go. Because there's going to come a point in time where that day is that last day. But it will be my best day. Because the day before, I prepared for it today. Feel me? Oh, God. Blessings to y'all. Stay focused. Stay motivated. I ain't laying back down. It's time to get up and get to work. Love y'all. As I always say, love everything about yourself. As you can see, I got a 5 head. I got a big brain. I think a lot. Love yourself, flaws and all. Because God created you, and God don't make mistakes. Purpose and reason. Time and season. Let's get it in. Peace and love. What they say? Love, grease, love, peace, and hair grease. I don't know, man. Blessings. Love y'all for real.